Okay, everyone. Anastasia, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you, everyone else who's in chat watching right now. And thank you, everyone who's thumbed up. And yeah, sorry about that, Anastasia. Sometimes I'll get an ad that I just can't skip. So what I do is I turn my mic down and I turn the desktop audio down, because once I reload this back onto YouTube, I don't want the ad playing or, you guys to hear me typing certain things and stuff like that. So that's the only reason why sometimes there's no sound, but I was able to skip the second ad and we are good to go and we are rolling. And I'm very excited for this topic for today. So I hope you guys are as well. And again, thank you for all the thumbs up so far. So it's great to have you in here, Anastasia. I believe this might be your first stream, if I'm not mistaken. If it is, welcome. If it isn't, I apologize. But, I'm hoping that we have a good discussion surrounding diet. And when I say diet, it doesn't have to be losing weight, okay? We're not going to equate diet necessarily to just losing weight and things like that. A diet for you to be in a calorie deficit and all of those types of things. Yes, it's going to have a little bit to do with it, absolutely, all right? A diet to lose weight, because I know that there are some people who do want to lose weight, but there are some people that don't, and that what the title is saying is still going to equate to you as well, all right? So there are some important things that we need to keep into consideration when we're thinking about the diet and if it's the right one for us. Now, I guess before we start and we really get into the topic, and thanks, Anastasia, I'm glad that you're finding it or found it to be sort of an interesting topic for today. I thought it was too. I had a couple of conversations with some clients, and it kind of gave me I guess I had a little epiphany there where I thought it might be a good topic for us to discuss. So first of all, when we're talking diet, there's a whole bunch of different diets out there. There's just eating a well-balanced diet. There's a keto diet, paleo diet, Mediterranean diet, all of those different things. Now, we don't necessarily have to just talk about those types of diets. I think they're all going to apply, okay? Each one might or might not be the correct one for you or wrong for you. And the way I see it, and I've said this before, is there's no perfect diet or there's no right or wrong diet. The best diet for you is the one that you're going to be able to maintain for the rest of your life if you had to, okay? The one you're going to be able to maintain and the one that you're going to be able to eat foods that you enjoy, right? Especially if you're trying to lose weight. That's the only thing that makes sense. If you're trying to lose weight and you're on a diet that you don't enjoy, that you can't stay in a calorie deficit on, you're not going to lose weight. And then you're just going to probably have that yo-yo effect. You might lose a few pounds, but then you'll just get back onto your regular diet and you'll probably end up putting more weight on. That's what our studies are showing us. You not only add the weight back on, but you put on a few more pounds, and we don't want that. So let's talk about one way to know, and again, it doesn't matter if you're on keto, if you're just eating a well-balanced diet. So when I say well-balanced diet, it means you're covering your protein, carbohydrates, healthy fats, fiber, all of those stuff. So macronutrients are in there. Or paleo, Mediterranean, vegan, vegetarian, doesn't matter, guys, all right? It's all the same, all right? We're treating them all the same today. Now, the first way that you're going to know that it's wrong for you is if you cannot maintain it. All right, if you can't maintain the diet, then that is not the correct diet for you. And in fact, I would go so far that it's the wrong diet for you. So for me and a lot of my clients that I work with, the big fad right now is keto diet. Everyone wants to get on the keto diet. You see tons of videos on a keto diet. I get questions every day, especially with shutdowns and lockdowns, people wondering about diet now that they can't work out as much and all of that stuff. Always asking about a keto diet. So I'll use that as an example. Sorry, as I drink my water. All right, so if you can't, let's say you're on the keto diet, are you going to be able to maintain a diet for the rest of your life, or at least, let's say for years, all right, where you can't eat any carbohydrates? Now, some people can. A lot of people can't. In my experience, a lot of people cannot do that. They cannot stay in ketosis. All right, even for months, weeks even. It's very hard to stay in ketosis. You have to watch even what vegetables you're eating, and fruits are out the window. So for me, one interesting thing is if you cannot, so let's put the first one up there. All right, so people know. All right, if you cannot maintain the diet, that's number one. So if you cannot maintain the diet, it's not the correct one for you. The best diet is the one that you can maintain for the rest of your life and that you enjoy, and we'll get into that more and more later because that's going to be a point. But if you cannot maintain the diet, let's say even for a few weeks, all right, do we really think that that's the correct diet for ourselves? Probably not. All right, so the biggest one, if you can't maintain the diet, then we already know that it's probably the wrong one for you because there's a multiple of reasons why you're not maintaining it. And we probably already know what they are. You're not enjoying it. You're too restricted. You're too limited. You're not eating enough calories. There's not enough choice for you. All right, that seems to be the reasons why when I talk to people who I'm doing consultations with, why they end up getting off that diet. So if you cannot maintain the diet, then it is most likely wrong for you. And we see some comments in the chat. More problems. Greetings. Hey, I am. Greetings to you as well. I hope you're having an excellent day, an excellent Sunday. So I hope you guys would agree with that. I mean, if you cannot maintain the diet, and it happens so many times, all right? It happens so many times where people cannot maintain the diet. And the one that I'm going to use, all right, there's a couple that I can use that I've seen just through my own experience. Studies can show this a little bit, but let's talk about experience. And then people we know, our friends, things like that. All right, think about that as well. Maybe you might experience this. And people seem to think that I have something against the keto diet. Trust me, I have tons of clients who are on a keto diet. And I'll treat it just fine. I still work with them the exact same. We make meals together, all right, and we train together. I am not a keto diet hater whatsoever. All right, but a lot of people who go onto a keto diet cannot maintain the keto diet. And it's very tough to maintain it because if you're going to maintain it, you have to stay in ketosis. If you're not in ketosis, guys, then there's really no point of you being on the keto diet. And a lot of people are actually getting out of ketosis, so they're not able to maintain a keto diet for longer than 2-3 weeks. That's just my own personal experience of working with hundreds of clients. That's just the truth, guys. And again, I'm not picking on keto. Let's go to another one. A lot of people want to go to a vegetarian diet. Okay, I've even tried I've tried almost every diet, guys. So, I can kind of talk a little bit from experience. Let's talk about me, maybe. I went vegan. I signed up for a vegan challenge that was for 30 days. I thought it would be nice, cut back on meat, change it up a little bit, even for some of the reasons, the important reasons for animals and things like that. And I lasted 2 days. And it's unfortunate, but I'm not embarrassed to admit that I couldn't last on the vegan diet for 2 days. Why? Because it wasn't the right diet for me. I was used to eating the other foods. It was too restrictive for me. I would have loved to stay on that vegan diet for 30 days, maybe more if I really liked it. I probably would have. I probably would have stayed on it for more than 30 days had it been if I could maintain it. But unfortunately, I couldn't, so obviously it was not the right diet for me, and I immediately switched. Thank you, and you too. Oh, thank you very much, I appreciate that. So the first one, guys, is you have to be able to maintain the diet. The diet that I'm on right now has been the diet that I've been using for the last, 8 years. This vegan, kind of switching to the vegan thing was quite a while ago, I'll be honest. It was probably like 10 years ago. But the diet that I've been on now has been the same diet that I've been using for maybe 8-10 years. So I know that it's a good diet for me, and it's just a well-balanced diet of macronutrients, micronutrients, fiber, a little bit of everything. All right, so I'm not restricted in any way. Of course, I'm going to have clean foods in there, but again, there's no restriction in terms of carbohydrates, proteins, fats, things like that. So for me, it's a great diet because I can maintain it and I enjoy it. All right. So I think we kind of hit the point there. I would love to hear if anyone's on a keto diet right now or a vegan diet, or how long you've been able to maintain your diets. Because if you are, then congratulations. It's most likely that you're on the correct diet. All right. So I would say that that's a very important one, and one that we cannot overlook. Again, you have to be able to maintain it. Even, we're not talking about just weight loss here, guys. We're talking about quality of life and overall health as well. So let's get into our next one then. If we can't maintain the diet, another one is if we are cheating on our diet, if we're having a lot of cheat meals. All right, so cheating on our diet. Could be keto, could be anything, could be well-balanced meal. So what does cheating on our diet mean? All right, so let's say we're eating well-balanced meals and everything like that. Now, can you cheat on your diet a little bit? Of course, we have to live a little bit, guys. Even for myself, I have a couple cheat meals, maybe one or two usually max a week, where I won't even count calories or worry about calories. I'll just enjoy the meal, and it is what it is, and then I'll get back onto the diet. All right, but if you're constantly cheating on the diet, you're constantly adding in things, like sweets, sugar, saturated fats, high sodium type of things. If you're adding in soda, ordering fast food, then you're probably not on the right diet. You're probably too restricted, to be honest. Again, it could be a keto diet. It could be paleo as well. A lot of the times I've worked with people who've tried paleo and it just wasn't for them. And because it wasn't for them, they ended up cheating on the diet. Again, going to foods that just weren't healthy. I think that's the best way of defining cheating, all right? Moving from healthy foods and eating a well-balanced diet to, eating unhealthy foods, or foods we want to limit the most, highly processed foods and things like that. I think that's just the best way of saying cheating on the diet. So switching from well-balanced meal, if we think of it as a pyramid, guys, the foods at the top of the pyramid, the ones that we want to be eating the least, if we're constantly going to those foods, then clearly we have a problem with the diet that we're on. We're probably too restricted. That's the biggest issue that I see with most people when they start cheating on a diet. They're just too restricted. They're on a diet that they don't enjoy, so they start cheating on the diet, snacking here, snacking there, ordering fast food here, adding some sweets at nighttime. Usually it's nighttime snacking and things of that nature. Oh, Anastasia, let me read your comment here. Plant-based for 3 years. Nice. Very good. Good for you. That's the one that really works for me. I also was the worst. Felt unhappy and not healthy at all. Well, there you go. Thank you, Anastasia, for bringing that up. That's a wonderful comment. And congratulations on sticking to the vegan and plant-based diet for the last 3 years. And clearly it works for you. If you've been able to stay on that for 3 years, that's a tremendous accomplishment, let me tell you. After working with clients for so long, and not because it's vegan, it could be any diet, or plant-based, it could be any diet, but the fact that you've been able to stay on that one diet for 3 years, congratulations to you. That's an amazing accomplishment. But isn't it interesting? You tried keto, so a different diet in the past, and it wasn't for you. You felt unhappy and not healthy, and it was a bad experience. All right. And it was and we see it's something that you could not maintain. You had to switch. And I'm not going to assume, but there might have even been some cheating on the keto diet. I know if you felt bad, if you felt unhappy, a lot of my clients, what will happen when they start to feel worse or feel unhappy and not healthy, they'll start turning to other foods. So there could be some cheating on the diet. There certainly was for me when I went vegan. I only lasted 3 days, guys. And again, it just wasn't the diet for me. I wish I could have gone longer, but again, I just couldn't. And you have to take the diet and use the diet that's going to work for you. No problem, Anastasia. I really think that that's an amazing accomplishment. And, working with so many people, it's just so rare that you see people who actually will stick to a diet for so long, and one that is working for you and one that you're happy with. So guess what? That's going to give you the best chance of getting the best results. That's why I say the best diet is the one that works the best for you. I don't care if it's keto, if it's vegan, if it's paleo, could be anything, guys. Okay, so make sure and keep in mind, because we always want to keep a little bit of mindfulness when we're eating, mindful eating. Sorry again, as I take a little drink of coffee. My regular guys, you guys know I like to have a late afternoon coffee here. But always keep in mind, if you're finding yourself, if you can't maintain the diet, so, like me, I lasted 3 or 4 days. I think it was probably 3. Might have been 4. Can't quite remember. It was a while ago. But if you can't maintain the diet, it's obviously not the right one for you. If you're cheating on the diet, I like to use vegan and keto as an example. So a lot of people, what will happen that I work with, they go onto a keto diet, and then they get 2 or 3 weeks in, and then they'll get the weirdest cravings. Well, it's not even weird, but it's kind of funny. I laugh only because the things that I hear that they're craving, and it's so unfortunate, just because they're restricted when the things that they're craving are an apple or grapes or pears and things like that. But because they're on keto, they can't have those types of foods. So they're not even craving like fast food, pizza, chips, chocolate, and things like that. They're craving like nutrients. They're craving apples, fruit, things like that. So for them, even carrots, because I think carrots on the keto diet can be a little bit tough. You got to make sure, maybe in the way they're prepared. I'm not exactly sure if I can't really remember if keto has carrots on them anymore. But the way they're prepared, sometimes you can't even have carrots. But what they're actually craving are like fruit, blueberries, apples, things like that. High nutrient dense foods. So they'll get cravings like that, and then they'll go off the diet and they're already at a ketosis, and then it's just probably off the wagon from there. So again, sort of cheating on the diet, adding in foods. And again, do we really want to stick to a diet when we can't eat an apple? Ask yourself that question. Can I see myself sticking to a diet for the rest of my life where I can't eat an apple or a pear or have grapes and things like that? So again, you don't want to be too restricted, because then you'll start the cheating. Anastasia, I see. Oh, no problem. All bodies are different. Some need carbs. Absolutely. You're 100% right. Some others need meat to feel well. It's all good. Yeah, absolutely. 100%. I think that's a really important point, and probably one I think I'm driving home maybe the most here. That's why I say there's no best diet. And I truly believe that, and we're seeing that in studies. If you're trying to lose weight, let's just say, for instance, there's 100% no best diet. The best diet is the one that works for you, because you have to be in a calorie deficit. That's the only way you're going to lose weight. You're not going to be able to lose weight if you're eating a surplus of calories or if you're eating a maintenance of calories. It's just not going to happen. The only way for you to lose weight is to be in a calorie deficit. So you need to eat less calories than your body burns per day or needs per day. All right, so that's the only way. That's why I say there's really no best diet. The best one is the one that you can keep for a long time. I'd say years. Like, look at Anastasia. She's gone 3 years. Myself, I think I'm like 6, maybe like 8. I can't remember the last time I changed my diet. I'm happy with my diet right now. And take it as a learning experience, guys. I'm not trying to be judgy or preachy to you or anything like that. Just keep it in mind. Am I happy with what I'm eating on a day-to-day basis, especially if you're losing weight? If I know so many people who are losing weight and are unhappy because of the diets that they're on. And then guess what? And this is why I always tell people too. This is just a quick little weight loss rant, and I'll get into the third one. If you're unhappy on the diet, the thing I always tell people is stick to 1.5, maybe even 1 to 2 pounds of weight loss per week, because then you're not going to be restricted. If you're going for like 5 pounds, all right, you know how many calories of a deficit you're in, it's probably something like, I can do the math real quick. It's probably something like 17,500. That's 1 week. That is a huge deficit. All right, a huge deficit. If it's 2 pounds, it's 7,000. So that's a lot more doable. It might even be closer to 20,000 now that I'm thinking about it. But it's just going to be a huge deficit. So to lose 1 pound, you have to be in a deficit of 3,500 calories. That's why I always say, guys, it's a marathon, not a sprint. Try to go as slow as you can. All right, take your time, and it adds up. People always think if I'm losing 2 pounds a week, it's going to take me forever to reach my goal. Well, guess what? If you lose 2 pounds every week for 3 months only, you just lost yourself 25 pounds. And how amazing is that? That's tremendous. If you do it for 6 months, you just lost 50 pounds. Let's say you have a little bit more weight to lose. 50 pounds in half a year. Incredible. And if you're doing some resistance training, you're probably putting on a little bit of muscle. So a lot of that loss is going to be fat loss. So that's just my little spiel as well, guys. There's people who are just unhappy when losing weight because they have to be on a diet and they're just too restricted. Again, that's another little pointer. If you're working out, the diet's wrong for you if you're unhappy and you're losing too fast and it's just too restrictive. Okay, let's go to our next one, guys. So number 3, let me type it out. I just want to type them out just so to make sure that you guys, if you did miss any, then you can just go back and read them. Okay, the next one, all right, is going to be a loss or lack of energy. All right, so if your energy levels are being diminished, then there has to be something going on with our diet. So if you had good energy before, let's say you went into the diet and energy was really strong, things were going really good, all right, but then our energy started to drop a little bit. We started to feel more tired, more sluggish. There's probably an issue, I would say, with the diet. You'd want to look at the diet first, because if there wasn't an issue before, and there wasn't an issue for years before, but then all of a sudden, it switched, all right, maybe we switched our diet, especially if it's the timings there, all right, then that's not going to be the best diet for you. There's so many people who I've worked with who switched diets and then found that they had a loss or lack of energy, usually because, again, too restrictive and not enough calories. All right, and that's why it would be the wrong diet for you. That's the big one. Not enough calories and not enough healthy nutrients. All right, micronutrients, things like that. You see it all. I see it all the time, at least working with people. Just a loss or lack of energy. I don't know if you guys can relate, but a lot of people who start diets and things like that, a lot of the time, they'll maybe work out, even if they're not working out, but they'll just feel sluggish, especially that mid-afternoon or that mid-morning, or they're wanting to take more naps and things like that. It shouldn't be happening. If we're on a good diet and the diet is proper for us and we're getting enough micronutrients, we're getting good micronutrients, we're getting good calorie intake, then we should be increasing our energy. We should be feeling better with our diet. So if we're on a diet where we're actually losing energy and it's affecting the quality of our life, all right, because remember, we want to be high energy. If we're high energy, we're more productive and we're more happy. All right, if you're tired and sluggish, I don't know anyone who, if you're at work or during the middle of the day, if you're tired and sluggish, I don't know anyone that enjoys that feeling. I know for me, that's one of the worst feelings, especially working with doing consultations, working with people, working with clients. You pretty much want to get out of there when you're feeling like a nap. So if you're losing energy or lack of energy, all right, again, think of the diet. Again, it might not be the diet for you. I know a lot of people that'll switch to a no-carb diet, and that really affects them. That'll really affect them negatively in terms of loss of energy. Because remember, carbohydrates, all macronutrients give us energy, guys. All right, calories are energy. All right, but carbohydrates kind of go that one step further. They're that macronutrient that kind of give us that boost of energy. That's why we want complex carbohydrates, because it's a slow digesting carb. So you kind of get that energy release a little bit slowly. It's not burnt up fast. That's why when you eat things like donuts or sugary stuff, all right, you'll get that jolt of energy, but then you'll end up crashing a little bit. All right, so I think that's a really big one. People who will switch to like a keto or a paleo, or even vegan or plant-based, you got to be careful, because sometimes you're taking not only macro. So for keto, you're taking one macronutrient and you're throwing it out the window, and it's usually the one that's going to give you your energy. So if you can't eat oatmeal, something like that, something I start my day with, a lot of people start their day with oatmeal. If you can't have that, you're going to have to find something else that's going to energize you and keep you going throughout the morning. Okay, if you go to vegan or vegetarian, a lot of the times people are a little bit low, and it's not all the time, and Anastasia can probably talk to this a little bit as well, but a lot of the times low in iron, low in vitamin B12, B6, things like that. Sometimes they may have to supplement a little bit. So people will switch to these diets and then find that they have a lack of energy or a loss of energy, and it might just because we're missing totally, or we're just deficient in a certain nutrient. Again, when I switched to that vegan diet, all right, I did feel a little bit sluggish. I wasn't on it quite long enough to really be able to say that for certain, but I know that the couple of days that I was on it, I did feel a little bit more sluggish. The food was good, trust me. I was eating good, but I did feel a little bit more sluggish on those days. So loss or lack of energy, guys, that's a big one for most people. I want you guys to understand that our diet is not only, when I say diet, it's not just meaning weight loss, okay? I don't just mean weight loss when we talk about diet. I don't just mean, fitting in the right macronutrients or sticking to a certain type of diet. I'm talking about diet that's going to improve your quality of life and your overall health and all the great benefits that come from that. Okay, so what do I mean? I mean reducing risk factors for chronic diseases. All right, so long term. All right, so things like digestive ailments, cognitive ailments. All right, we see a huge increase in things in cognitive function decrease, like Alzheimer's, early onset dementia, but also, again, maybe the biggest one is heart health. Okay, so think of diet like that. All right, think of diet in terms of improving the quality of life, not just for weight loss. All right, thank you, Anastasia. That's a beautiful comment. So you can see there, again, just why, sometimes you'll lose or have a little bit of lack of energy. Remember, B vitamins are your energy micronutrients. B vitamins are very, very good for our energy levels. So, sometimes you will have to supplement with B vitamins if you're following a vegan or vegetarian diet. I work with a couple vegetarians, maybe one or two vegans. They supplement with vitamin B12. That's just, I can relate to that on a personal level, but I also just do the research and everything like that. But vitamin B12, if you're on a vegan diet, I think they get shots for that. So they're quite low. So again, switching to the diet, if you're losing or lack of energy or something like that, all right, again, might not be the best diet for you. Now, for Anastasia, it's going to work. She can supplement with vitamin B12, and she's totally happy with everything else. So just because, you have a loss or lack of energy because of one micronutrient deficiency doesn't mean it's necessarily the wrong diet for you. If you can just supplement with it, then, of course, keep other things in mind as well. It could be a lot of things that are affecting us. Maybe we have sensitivities, all right? That's a big one. So maybe we switch to a diet where we're actually sensitive to the foods. Maybe it could be gluten, all right? Maybe it could be dairy or things like that, or even red meat. Some people have a real tough time digesting red meat, and it's going to affect their energy levels, all right? Because good gut flora is important. Good gut flora is good for energy. It's almost like a second brain. Sorry, I just want to catch up on some of these comments, Anastasia, that you're making here. Thank you so much for interacting. Persistence to place. My blood work is amazing. You're doing, keep it up. Nice. Iron is better than ever. That's awesome. You just need to be careful and do healthy foods and not vegan junk. Absolutely, 100%. That's why I was saying, Anastasia, I ate good on a vegan diet. There's definitely not a lack of foods that you can eat. But I was certainly eating just fine on a vegan. That's why I said I wish I could have stayed with it longer. I just know and knew it wasn't the diet for me. And that's not a bad thing, guys. You can switch it up. Just switch the diet up. You don't have to be married to anything or one certain type or be stubborn about it, because I have a couple clients, who can be. They think that I'll only lose weight if I'm on keto. That's the only way I can be in a calorie deficit. It's just not true. You can be in a calorie deficit in a number of different ways, with a number of different diets, with exercising, moderate portion control, things like that. There's multiple ways for you to be in a calorie deficit. It does not matter what diet that you're on. Bobby's World. Welcome, Bobby. Thank you so much. Love your videos, man. Really inspiring. Oh, thank you very much, Bobby. I appreciate that comment. Thank you very much. And that's why I make them, just to get that information, and I'm glad that it can inspire you, just as you guys are inspiring me with these streams. I love coming on here and interacting with everyone, all the thumbs up already. It's just amazing. Like, we're at 15 thumbs up, and we've just been going for 30 minutes. So I really appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much. And Bobby, I'm glad that you're enjoying the videos. Thank you again. All right, so loss or lack of energy, guys, that's a big concern for us. We want to make sure that, if we're having a loss or lack of energy, we want to look at the diet, especially if it's not sleep related. All right, it's usually probably going to be something connected with our diet. And again, we might switch to a diet where we have sensitivities to certain foods. I know people who have sensitivity to peppers. All right, things like that, zucchini. All right, there's sensitivities all over to strawberries, things like that are going to zap you of your energy. So just be careful with that as well. All right. Again, food sensitivities, restricting, not eating the right macronutrients, not getting enough micronutrients, not getting enough calories in general, or just being restricted. Just being so restricted, you're not able to meet your calorie quota for the day. Okay. Now let's go to the next one, and I'm interested to see what other. It's awesome hearing. I like hearing how Anastasia is on a vegan and plant-based diet. It'd be interesting to see what other diets people are following. I just find it so interesting. I get on here and sometimes I talk about what I'm doing. I tell you guys I eat well-balanced meals and everything like that. But I love hearing what you guys are doing too. So feel free to share that. Again, you don't just have to ask questions just on the topic or my point of view on things. Feel free to throw out what diets you're on and how you guys are doing with your diet. And then maybe I can give some pointers from there. Who knows? But you guys can ask whatever you want. And I'd love to hear what sort of diets you guys are on as well. It's been great hearing Anastasia. I really like hearing coming from a vegan and plant-based point of view. All right, so we have 3 out of the 5. All right, 3 out of the 5, and I think those 3 are important. So the first one being, you cannot maintain the diet. All right, you have to. A diet that's right for you is one that you can maintain your entire life. That's just, I truly believe that. I tell all my clients that, and there's it kind of goes back to that saying, the best diet is the one that you can maintain. It doesn't matter if it's keto or anything else like that. Next would be, you're cheating on your diet, and you're cheating on it consistently. I don't mean like 1 or 2 times a week where you're having a cheat meal. That's fine. Like I said, we have to live a little bit, guys. So having a cheat meal is fine. But if you're doing it on a daily basis, or if you're on like a keto diet and then you're kind of, eating carbs, or you're getting out of ketosis, or you're not even getting into ketosis, of course, that's not going to be the right diet for you. Same thing if you're vegan and you're, going off the vegan diet or vegetarian diet. Again, that's probably not the right one for you. Loss or lack of energy. Keep that in mind, guys. I've switched to diets before where I've had a loss or lack of energy, and then I just knew. And some of the times it has to do with sensitivities. I just knew that that just was not the correct diet for me. All right, here's another big one, guys. This is important and it's often overlooked. All right, remember, we're not just talking about weight loss. So some people might be thinking, well, it's not the right diet for you because you're not losing weight. Remember, we want to think about diet beyond just weight loss. Okay, weight loss can be part of it, but we're talking about day-to-day, high quality of life, all right, enjoyment. So I'll let that sort of be sort of the next guideline here. All right, into number 4. All right, number 4 is you don't enjoy the foods that you're eating. You have to enjoy the foods that you're eating. All right, and if not, again, it's the wrong diet for you. All right, so let me write that down. All right, you aren't enjoying the foods you're eating. All right, again, and that's a big one, guys. Why? Because it connects to the other ones. If you aren't enjoying the foods you are eating, how are we supposed to maintain that diet? It's impossible. All right, you're not going to be happy. You're not going to like the diet. You're going to regret probably going on it, and you're going to probably be a little bit resentful of food. You're going to build up, a lot of the times we see that you sort of build up sort of this complex where you don't build a healthy relationship with food if you're not enjoying the foods that you eat. So you have to enjoy foods that you're eating. All right, I tell that to my clients all the time. All right, a lot of people might not like chicken breast, all right, plain, all right, or just eating plain chicken breast. Well, the first thing I'll tell them is, well, maybe try to find a recipe so that you can add it to that recipe, because chicken breast is very healthy, and if they're working out, I'm just coming from it from a working out standpoint, but a lot of people eat chicken, so I think a lot of people can relate to it in chat. If you don't enjoy plain chicken, why are you eating plain chicken? Add it to a recipe that you're going to enjoy, and then you can get the benefits of chicken, especially if they're needing protein, bunch of micronutrients, things like that, if they want to be more satiated and feel more full. All right. So if you aren't enjoying the foods you are eating, you're not going to stay on the diet. It's the wrong diet for you. I know a couple of times, for me, what I like and what I need, and maybe this is the same for you guys, maybe you can relate, I need variety in my diet. All right. So for me to be on a successful diet and to get the results that I want, I train quite a bit. And again, you don't have to be training, right, or anything like that. I'm just kind of coming at it from a training point of view. If I don't have variety in my diet, I'm not going to be sticking to it. All right, it's just that simple. And so what does that mean? I'm probably not going to be maintaining it, and I'm probably going to be cheating a lot. I'm probably going to be having a lot of cheat meals if I'm not enjoying the food. So if I don't have a lot of variety and eating a bunch of different foods, guess what? That late night, that nighttime snacking is probably going to increase, because I'm not going to be happy with the diet that I'm on. I'm going to start start questioning, why am I even on this diet? It's not doing anything for me. It's making me feel worse. Feelings we all probably had. If we start having those feelings, guys, then we know we are enjoying the foods that we're eating. If we're having feelings of like, why am I on this diet? This diet isn't helping me. I'm not enjoying the foods that I'm eating. I feel too restricted. Then again, wrong diet for us. We need to switch it up. We need to add some variety in there. I know that there's been certain points, and again, like I'm just about to say, there's been certain times in my life where, you sort of have to experiment with different types of foods. At a time, I loved eggs and egg whites and things like that. I'd always start my morning with that, eggs and oatmeal. Well, guess what? After a little while, I started to almost resent having to eat that on a day-to-day basis, and I probably didn't eat it for a good couple of years. I was sick of oatmeal and I was sick of eggs. I was too restricted. I wasn't enjoying the foods that I was eating anymore. So I had to switch it up. All right, and you want to make sure that you switch it up and have variety and that you enjoy the foods, because guess what? If not, you're going to replace it with something that you probably don't want to, and it's probably not going to be very healthy for you. Like it could be, a lot of people, what I'll see is, they're really good at starting out good. So let's say that they're having a hard-boiled egg, maybe some toast, because remember, you don't have to be scared of bread, guys. If we're keeping a deficit, we can get benefits from bread as well. All right, but they might be starting out just fine with that. But then they get sick of it, they start resenting it, they don't enjoy it anymore. Now the donut becomes way more appealing. Now the extra little sugar in the coffee becomes way more appealing, because guess what? They're going to enjoy that. A cookie in the morning with the coffee. All right, they're going to start enjoying those types of foods way more than they are with anything else. Okay? So again, make sure you have variety and make sure that you're enjoying the foods that you are eating. Why would we want, and you have to ask yourself a question, why would we want to be on a diet where we have to eat foods that we're not enjoying? All right? Food is like anything else. We have to eat. So if we have to eat, you want to make sure that you're enjoying the foods that you're eating, because guess what? There's no way that you can get away from it. If you don't enjoy working out, you can stop working out and then maybe just focus on your diet. There's actually a popular book, I can't remember the name of it, where people are actually saying, well, it's actually easier for us to lose weight if you're not working out. I don't know if I agree with that 100%. I'm kind of just throwing it out there. I guess the premise is the more you work out, the more hungry you're going to be. So the more hungry you're going to be, the more calories you're going to eat. I wish I could remember the name of the book, but it came out, and there's this big sort of a fad, I guess now. It's almost anti-working out, and it can be the same thing with food, guys. Like I said, with working out, you can just stop. But with eating, you're not going to be able to stop. You have to eat to survive. So if we have to eat to survive, then, you want to make sure that you're enjoying the foods that you are eating. Okay? It could be just adding in an extra meal here. I know a lot of people in chat, I've had chats in here before where people enjoyed sweet potatoes. Well, add the sweet potato in. Why force yourself to eat something else that you don't like? There's nothing wrong with sweet potatoes. Add that in. Say that you like bread, for instance. There's a lot of people who are anti-bread. There's that big anti-bread movement. We can't have carbs. We can't have gluten. We can't have grains, things like that. There's nothing wrong with it if we're eating it in moderation and we're still in a calorie deficit if you're trying to lose weight. A lot of people equate eating bread to weight gain. If we're in a deficit, it's not going to matter. Your body doesn't know if it's taking in bread or if it's taking in broccoli. If you're in a deficit, you're in a deficit. And thank you so much for all the likes, guys. I do appreciate it. So again, make sure you're enjoying the foods that you're eating. If you're not enjoying the foods that you're eating, guys, it's not the right diet for you. All right, it's that simple. These tips are, I always love making it as simple as possible. I could come on here and I can say devoid of micronutrients. Well, obviously, we need to make sure that we're getting enough nutrients. That's a simple one. Well, for dieting, we need to make sure that we're not gaining weight. Well, that's clear. Anyone knows that. I think everyone knows that, guys. You need to make sure that, and I've said that so many times, it's in all the videos, it's in all my streams. You got to make sure you're getting all your macro, micro nutrients, fiber, different varieties of foods and things like that. That stuff's easy. Obviously, you don't want to be gaining weight and all the problems that come with that. Joint issues, heart issues, quality of life. That'd be easy. The other ones that people don't take into consideration are things like loss or lack of energy. All right, or enjoying the foods that we're eating. Because guess what? If you're enjoying the foods that you're eating, all of the negative things that I just said are going to probably go out the window, or at least there's a very good chance. And so if you're enjoying the foods that you're eating, you're going to be way happier. The mental state is going to be much better, and you're going to be able to stick to the diet and maintain it without cheating. So all those negative things go right out the window. I hope that makes sense to you guys. It's very important, that you're enjoying the foods that you're having. If you're not going to stick to the diet. Again, it's just that simple, and you're probably going to end up cheating. And if you're doing that, unfortunately, you're probably going to be gaining weight. And again, we're not just talking about dieting and gaining weight, losing weight here. All right, this is an overall diet discussion. Okay. Well, thank you so much, guys. I'm really enjoying this chat. I'm almost ready to get to number 5. If there's any comments, please feel free. I really like Anastasia's comment having to do with vitamin B12. I think that's great. It was almost exactly right on with what I was saying, with the loss or lack of energy, having to deal with a certain type of diet that you switched over to. All right, so make sure, watch your energy levels, guys. Make sure that the energy is not lacking. Sorry, I'm just taking a quick drink of coffee. Okay, let's talk about our last one here, guys. So, number 5. I wonder if anyone can guess it. I'd like to see some guesses. We had some awesome guesses last time. So what would you guys think? What would be one way that we could tell that a diet is wrong for us? And you're probably going to get them right. I have one written down that I'm going to put, but you guys would probably be right if you ended up guessing, because there's more than one. So I'll tell you, it doesn't have to be, it's not devoid of, we'll talk about all this stuff after too. I want to get the 5 out there, and then we'll talk about some other things as well, because there is more than 5, but I think these were the 5 most important ones that I sort of figured would be the most helpful for you guys. All right, let me write it out here. Okay, so number 5. All right, so let's think again to the other ones. We want to be able to maintain the diet. We don't want to be cheating constantly on our diet. And again, cheating doesn't necessarily mean cheat meals. It could mean if we're on a vegan diet, then we're going off, we're eating meat or things like that. If we're on a keto diet, we're eating carbs, carbohydrates, and things like that. Again, the other one was with the cheating, loss or lack of energy. And you are enjoying the foods that you're eating. A lot of people really are on diets, and I don't know why, but there's been this movement where people think that they have to eat certain foods and they have to eat bland foods to be healthy. It's just that's not true. You can make healthy recipes, guys. Have recipes that you enjoy. That's probably the biggest thing. Don't be eating bland foods because you're not going to enjoy them. I know I'm not. And then guess what? If I'm eating that type of stuff, my body is just, I'm not going to be happy. My body is going to start saying, give me something that's going to give me that dopamine rush that I'm craving because I haven't gotten it yet from you. And then at nighttime, that's when we turn to the ice cream, chocolate, chips, things like that. The empty calories, okay? So the empty calories, all right? And that's the 5th one, guys. So the diet is wrong for you if our diet includes empty calories, and I'm going to get into this. So too many empty calories. What does that mean? What does empty calories mean? Let me explain it. Okay. So it's probably going to be wrong for you if we're having too many empty calories, guys. So that could mean devoid of nutrients. Again, if we're not getting enough nutrients, it's going to be very bad. But empty calories as well is going to be things like we're eating too much. If we're drinking like fruit juices, for instance, if we're having fruit juices, it's just empty calories. There's nothing in there but sugar. All right. Another one that would be an empty calorie, all right, is probably like a chocolate bar. I know a lot of people will turn to dark chocolate and things like that, all right? But if there's too many empty calories in there and not enough micronutrients, all right, that's not the right diet for anyone, all right? So a way to know is if we're eating too many empty calories, okay? And so what's going to happen if we're eating too many empty calories, guys? Well, let's list it. This is the way we know, all right? Weight gain, that's going to be probably one because we're not going to be satiated eating that type of stuff. All right. Increased appetite because, again, not satiated. So increased appetite. All right. And then last one. All right. Low nutrient intake. Low nutrient intake. We don't want empty calories, guys. You hear me say in my videos all the time, and I will always point out, and I'll probably always continue pointing out, nutrient-dense foods. Nutrient-dense foods that are low in calories are our best friend. So let's think of some. Blueberries would be one. Another one would be broccoli. Another one like spinach, things like that. An enjoyable one is blueberries, raspberries, even like an apple or a pear, a fibrous piece of fruit. Those are great ones. All right, the empty calories, too many empty calories, are the exact opposite. There's hardly any nutrients in it. All right, and it's high in calories. So we know that that's going to be the wrong diet for you if you're having a diet that's just has too many empty calories. And why? You're going to know because you're probably going to gain weight. You're probably going to have increased appetite. So think about that. You're eating more and more, but your appetite isn't going to be satiated. All right. And the reason why is probably because you're not getting enough micronutrients. So you're gaining weight, but your appetite is increasing. And don't think that that's abnormal, guys, because trust me, I have clients and I'll do consultations where they'll tell me I've gained 20 pounds and I snack throughout the day. I can't stop snacking. I'm snacking right when I wake up. I'll eat, all right, and I snack right until I go to bed, all right? So they're eating all day, but they're not feeling full, all right? So we know that there's something wrong with our diet there, obviously, all right? If you're continuously eating, but you're not getting that full feeling from your food, the diet's just wrong, all right? We need to switch to a more well-balanced diet, more micronutrients, more macronutrients that are going to be better for you. So switch the foods up. Maybe you're eating simple carbs instead of complex carbohydrates and things like that. And then again, low nutrient intake. If you're snacking throughout the day, guess what you're probably snacking on? It's probably not like a moderate amount of almonds or veggies or anything like that. You're probably snacking on like cookies or like chips, those little bags of chips, or even things like crackers and stuff like that. Crackers are kind of like the go-to snack meal. I don't know if you guys realize that, but talking and working with a bunch of people, a lot of people will kind of grab crackers and things like that. And there's nothing wrong with crackers if you're having them in moderation. But the things with like crackers is it's higher in fat than you think. All right. You could eat like I kind of laugh. The only reason why I laugh is because you can eat 10 crackers and how are you going to feel after? If you think you're going to feel full, there's just no way. I could eat like 30 of them and trust me, I'm not going to be that full after eating them. But I'm eating so many calories at the same time. I'm racking up all these calories and I'm getting no nutrients. And then I'm also feeling full at the end of the day, which is just the opposite way that we want to be going. We don't want to be eating all these calories and then still be feeling full. All right. So we need a diet that works for us. All right. Not one where we're working for the diet, where we're trying to catch up, where we're trying to constantly feel full. All right. Or, I don't feel good on this diet, so let me take this piece of maybe chocolate or ice cream. All right, and I'll take that in and then I'll feel good. We want a diet that's going to make us feel good and work for us, give us energy. All right, things that we enjoy. All right, ones that isn't causing us weight gain. All right, ones that are going to give us tons of nutrients. So I hope that makes sense, guys. So don't worry, I still got a couple more points here. I just want to go through them real quick. So we know it's the wrong diet for us if we can't maintain the diet, and we should be trying to maintain it. What I always say is if you can maintain it for the rest of your life, bingo, you nailed it. That's the perfect diet for you. All right. We saw Anastasia talk about how she was on keto, couldn't stand it, felt horrible on it, and then switched to vegan, plant-based, and then she's been enjoying that for more than 3 years. So that's great. So we need to be on a diet, and we know it's wrong for us if we cannot maintain the diet. That's probably the most important one. That's why I put it first. The second one is we need to be on a diet, and we know it's wrong for us if we're cheating on the diet. If we're continuously cheating on the diet, we know that something's wrong with the diet. Okay, now what could be wrong? Maybe it doesn't include foods that we enjoy. Maybe it's too restrictive. All right, and maybe it's just, we're not getting the right nutrients on it, or macronutrients. That's what happened on vegan diet with me. That's what happens with a lot of my clients who are on keto. All right, so if you're constantly cheating and you're not feeling satiated from your diet, it's probably the wrong one for you. Now, the next important one is there's a loss or lack of energy. People overlook this all the time. Remember how I said we want a diet that works for us? Well, if you're losing energy or there's a lack of energy because of the diet you switch to, how is our diet working for us? We want to feel energized throughout the day. That's going to improve our quality of life. We don't want to be going through half the day and then losing energy or feeling sluggish or having a hard time getting out of bed. We want to feel energized from our diet. All right. And that usually means eating the correct foods. And it usually means sticking away from ones that we don't have sensitivities to. Because remember, there are people out there who do have a gluten sensitivity, although it is a lot more uncommon than common. I think a couple years ago you saw almost gluten-free everything. It was like people were thinking everyone had a gluten intolerance, but it's actually quite low when you look at the studies. But, if you do have a gluten intolerance, guess what? If you're eating gluten, that's going to zap you of your energy. If you have a dairy sensitivity, lactose intolerant, not only are you going to feel sick, but of course, energy levels are going to drop. Again, I've told you other ones, guys, where it doesn't have to be just those ones that you've heard. Sometimes people have that reaction to peppers or to Brazil nuts, all right? Eating too many certain foods that just don't work for them. All right, so again, that comes down to a little bit of experimentation. If I eat too much meat, all right, animal protein, all right, I feel sluggish. All right, so I switched over the years to more plant-based protein. All right, so that's been an interesting thing for me because when I was younger, I thought I would just try to get as much animal meat as I could or animal protein as I could, eggs, chicken, fish, beef, things like that, and I was 100% fine. But as I'm getting older, I'm not eating as much. I'm trying to think of it. I probably cut it in half, to be honest with you. And why? Because the more and more I eat, and it makes sense because it probably has something to do with my digestion. I'm probably having a harder time digesting that much protein. So it makes sense that I would lose a little bit of energy with that type of diet. So for me, I'm just eating less animal protein. If my diet was full of animal protein, then, that's the wrong one for me. And I kind of experimented with it, and I found out that it was. So watch out for that loss or lack of energy, guys. It's way more common than you think. And it's a good hint to tell us if we're on the right or wrong diet. All right. Again, we want to be on a diet that's going to be working for us and giving us tons of energy. Now, this next one is very important. It can't be understated. All right. It's the wrong diet for you if you're not enjoying the foods that you're eating. All right. So for me, it would be like, again, I'm not picking on keto. I know I always go back to it, but there's a huge picture of broccoli right in the middle of the picture that I'm looking at, and it just reminds me of keto. So I know it sounds like I'm picking on it. I'm definitely not. Trust me, I have a lot of friends that are on keto. I have a lot of clients that are on keto. I'm not picking on keto. But, if I was just eating a keto diet, there's a lot of foods that I would be missing that I enjoy. All right. And it'd probably be a lot of foods that I don't enjoy. All right. I like carbohydrates. I enjoy them. So if I was on a keto diet, I probably wouldn't be very happy because I'd be eating a lot of foods or I'd be lacking foods that I enjoy. And again, that one's connected quite a bit to the first one, to be maintaining the diet. So if you aren't enjoying the foods you are eating, unfortunately, it's probably the wrong diet for you. You got to switch it up a little bit. Sorry, Lee, I scrolled up there for a second. Let me read your your comments here before I get into my last one, and I apologize for that. If you're cheating, you haven't stopped sugar foods loaded with sugar and salt. I'm out. Whole plant food diet is plenty. Everything else is a footnote. Sorry, Lee, I'm not exactly sure. It sounded like you got a little upset there at the end. If you're cheating, you haven't stopped sugar foods loaded with sugar, fat, and salt. Maybe, not totally true. All right, you could be cheating for other reasons. One big one would be a lack or restriction of calories. That's usually, I think, the biggest one why people are cheating. Yes, they're probably cheating with sugar, fat, and salt. All right, but the trigger would be not eating enough calories. All right. And then just coming in and saying that whole plant food diet is plenty, everything else is a footnote. Again, obviously not true. Remember, not everyone is the same. Anastasia already said that. Not everyone's the same. Not everyone's going to think the same. We're not robots. Our bodies aren't going to react the same way to different foods. So I'm sorry, Lee, if you were upset, but a lot of things that you said there, maybe, you're on a whole plant food diet and, you want to push that and that's fine. But, we got to stick to some of the facts. Not everyone's going to be on a whole plant food diet, unfortunately. But, and not definitely not everything else is a footnote. We already know people who are on a plant food diet in here who have to supplement with vitamin B12. So, and we can definitely enjoy our diets with a bunch of different foods, not just plant-based. But again, thank you for coming in. I appreciate that. Alpha X DHT, thank you so much for coming in here. I'm vegetarian and eat fish and shrimps. I have limited my meat intake from lamb, nothing else. But fruits, nuts, and vegetables, plant, etc. and veganism feeling so good. But I'm aware of foods. Well, that's good. Yep, absolutely. And it's funny because it's usually the vegans and vegetarians who will always kind of come in and say, and this isn't about you, Alpha X, but a lot of the vegans and vegetarians, they're passionate, obviously, about the diets that they're on. So, you will get some of those types of comments. But again, we're talking about a whole bunch of different diets. Trust me, I don't expect everyone here, or I wouldn't expect everyone here. And if I think I did, I'd be doing a disservice to everyone, just assuming that everyone's on a plant-based diet. But again, yeah, eating, veggies and then fish, shrimp, and limit meat to intake form. I think lamb? I think you mean lamb there. I'm going to assume lamb is lamb. And then fruits, nuts, and vegetables. Obviously, yeah, that's great. And veganism, feeling good. Avoiding GMOs, MSGs, absolutely. So, those are things we've talked about in other streams as well. Fried foods. In my body, but I'm trying to reach 90 essential nutritions. That's hard. Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. I'm a little bit confused with the last part. For 9 essential amino acids, reach 60 nutritions in my body, but 9 essential nutrition. Sorry, I'm just a little confused as to that part, but absolutely. Avoiding GMOs, MSGs as much as you can. Sometimes it can be a little bit tough. It seems like everything is GMO these days, but yeah, absolutely, Alpha X. You totally definitely want to stay away from those types of things, fried foods, your vitamins, minerals, everything that we've already said in this chat. Yeah, exactly. I open-minded. That's good. But with Lee kind of coming in here and you got a little bit upset. That's okay. It's going to happen. All right? But we have to make sure, guys, the important thing, doesn't matter what's said or anything like that. That at the important day, at the end of the day, I think the important thing is that you're concentrating on the 5 things that we talked about here. All right. Again, I know that we're all going to be following different diets. That's just how it's going to work. All right. Not everyone is going to be on keto. Not everyone's going to be on paleo. Not everyone's going to be on vegan or vegetarian. All right. But I think the 5 that we listed here holds true for multiple diets, for all diets, really. That's why I made the list of 5. If you're not enjoying the diet, then how are you going to maintain it? And if you're not enjoying it, you're probably going to cheat on it. All right. And it could be causing a lack of energy and things like that. If you're not enjoying the foods, all right, it's probably going to be the wrong one for you because, again, how are you going to maintain a diet when you're eating foods you don't enjoy? And then lastly, maybe again, this could be maybe the most important one as well because of all of the things that could happen from it. All right, but the diet is probably wrong if we're eating too many empty calories, guys. We have to make sure that we're getting a lot of those micronutrients, and even if it's macronutrients as well, because macronutrients will help you maintain or get the micronutrients. All right, so too many empty calories. And again, just with working with people, so many empty calories out there. Like people loading up with condiments and things like that. And again, I'm not judging. You know, that's what they're for. The condiments are there to put on certain foods. But you have to be careful with things like condiments. Like I'm talking about barbecue sauce if you're eating a steak or something like that, or ketchup, or other types of things like mayonnaise. I'm trying to think of any other ones. Salad dressings, all that type of stuff. Okay? Think of how many calories are in a tablespoon of ketchup. I think I looked and it was like 20 or 30 or something like that. All right, so if you put in 3 tablespoons of ketchup, you're adding 100 calories. You'd be surprised how much ketchup is 3 tablespoons. It's very, very small. So just by having 3 tablespoons of ketchup, you're getting close to 100 calories, all right, but you're getting very little nutrients. It's the exact same with barbecue sauce. It's even worse. All right, and the other thing is too, with a 1 tablespoon of barbecue sauce or like rib sauce or anything like that, you can get up to 50, 60, 75 calories sometimes based on that, especially if it has some salt. Like oil in it. So if it has oil, of course, you're going to be getting fat, which is going to be higher in calories. So imagine you put 3 tablespoons of these sauces on your steak, which again is very easy to do. You just, let's say it was 75 calories, you just added 225 calories, which is a lot. Remember, especially if you're on a diet where you're eating 2,000 calories, that's what usually the average is for the average person. All right, you just on that barbecue sauce, and again, being restrictive on it, it's probably going to be a lot more than 3 tablespoons. It could be anywhere from 4 to 5, but let's just call it 225. You're eating almost 1/10 of your calorie consumption per day just on those condiments. So be careful with those empty calories, guys. That's why I say number 5 is so important. The empty calories, stay away from that stuff. I watched a really interesting video. I can't remember the name on it. I think it was something like, what does 400 calories look like, or something like that. Think about that for a second. What does 400 calories of ketchup look like? If you put that on a plate, how much of the plate would be full? If you had something oil-based, let's just call it olive oil. 400 calories of olive oil. Let's say you put that on a plate. What would that look like? How much of the plate do you think would be full? But let's say you did 400 calories of broccoli. That plate is absolutely full. You almost need 2 plates for that, just because it's so low calorie, but so high nutrient dense. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind when you're thinking empty calories, guys. Portion control as well. And always remember, people are going to have their opinions. People are going to come in here, and not everyone. Anastasia was great. Thank you, Anastasia, for coming in here and providing that information. Really, really appreciate it. That was great of you. And again, congratulations on sticking to it. But people are going to have their own ideas of what they think the best diet is. But what the best diet for some people is not going to be the best diet for you. You have to sort of play around with it a little bit. Trust me, I've tried everything. Maybe not everything, but I've tried multiple diets, and through my own experiences, I've found that just eating a well-balanced diet, lower animal protein, All right, but still, good amounts of protein, complex carbohydrates, lots of veggies. All right, so lots of vegetables, moderate fruit for me, and healthy fats is the best way for me to go. And that's just that. I've been on that diet for 8 years now, and it's worked great for me. I feel great on it, and it's kind of what made me start the channel. I started the channel probably starting the channel about 8 years ago, somewhere around there. All right, but again, I don't want to come off judgy or preachy. I know people, are passionate about certain types of diets and things like that, but just keep in mind, do what works for you. All right, you have to do what works for you. If not, you're just going to keep spinning the wheel. The wheel's just going to keep spinning. All right, if you're eating foods you don't enjoy, you're not going to be sticking to that diet, and that wheel's just going to keep spinning. You're going to be chasing something that you'll never catch. All right, let's say if it's weight loss, if it's, improving the quality of life, if it's trying to limit long-term chronic disease. Again, if you're on the wrong diet, the chances of that type of stuff is going to go down. It's going to go down dramatically. I'm telling you guys, food and happiness has such a big connection to it just because of the dopamine rush that we can get. Sometimes we can be on a diet only for a week or two, and then we want to get off it right away. We just quit the diet because it's just too hard. It's not worth the time. It's not worth the effort. Sorry, as I drink a little bit of coffee here. It's not enjoyable for us. We'll switch instantly. There's people who I talk to who are gung-ho right in the morning. Today's going to be the perfect diet. They got their diet all made. They're all excited. They're ready to start it fresh. And then that night they're eating ice cream and cookies. All right? We can switch on a dime. It can happen super fast. And so that's why I think it's so important for us to make sure that we're on a good diet that's going to keep us happy. What can we do to limit that nighttime snacking? What can we do that's going to make us happy? All right, because usually those people who are turning to the ice cream and cookies, they're on a restrictive diet that they're not happy with. All right, they're not enjoying the foods they're eating, and they just cheated. So number 2 on the list. All right, they cheated from their diet and they went off. All right, they went off the diet. And usually when you go off the diet, it sets a bad habit where it's just going to continue to happen. Again, you're starting to spin that wheel. All right, you spin the wheel. So same people who go off keto and they're out of ketosis, and then that wheel's just spinning. They're not enjoying it, but they're thinking it's the only thing that's going to work for them, but they just can't stay on it. Yeah, the foods we eat a lot of days in this generation don't care. Yeah, I mean, that always trying to drink clean alkaline water. Science. Yeah, science and experience. Even experience is good too. I mean, there's science out there that says that, peppers are good for us, or strawberries are good for us, and things like that. High in let's say peppers, one of the best sources of vitamin C, natural sources. For strawberries, very high in antioxidants, vitamin C, anti-inflammatory, tons of nutrients in there. All right, but again, a lot of the times people have sensitivities to those foods as well. So we can look at the science, but I always like to kind of come back to experience as well. So I do agree with your point, Alpha X. But again, take your experience, because I know you probably have a lot. Keep that in mind also, all right? So the science is good, but also go with experience. Combine the two. I look at the science as well. That's how I get my videos. But I also use a lot of experience when I discuss food, from working with clients for the last couple of years, and then just from myself, researching or just trying different diets and trying different foods. So, no, I think that's a great point. But just make sure, I think just hitting home, again, when we talk about diet, it doesn't always have to mean losing weight. I think when people hear diet, the first thing that pops up into our mind is weight loss or or something along those lines. But remember, we can maintain if we're already happy with our body. There's nothing wrong with maintaining. All right. I think diet for me is just something that is, something that we can maintain, that's keeping us healthy, that's improving our quality of life, and is going to lower the risk factors of chronic diseases or other issues, other ailments, infections, whatever it may be, in the long term. All right, and short term. So acute and chronic risk factors. I think that's how I would kind of sum up diet. Instead of always thinking in terms of how can I lose weight, how can I improve my body or anything like that. Trust me, if you're on a well-balanced diet or on a diet for work that works for you, if that's your goal, then you're going to have a way better chance of hitting that goal as well. So always keep that in mind, guys. It's so important, and that's one of the reasons why I continuously come out with the videos. I do these streams. Just trying to get as much information out there. I hope you guys enjoyed the Brazil nuts video. That's always fun to make. I'm usually eating nuts and seeds on a daily basis. I've continued my habit. I had 3 Brazil nuts before I came out here. I always find them satiating and stuff like that. So the habit of eating 3 Brazil nuts, it's kind of funny. That was the last video. Had 3 Brazil nuts just before I came out here. And actually a plant-based protein source. So what I was telling you guys earlier is all kind of staying true. So plant-based protein and some Brazil nuts. Have you looked into stevia? Absolutely. Yeah, I've heard of stevia for a very, very long time. Very long time. Probably 10 plus years. Used to drink it with my coffee. Now I don't really put anything in there. But yeah, absolutely I've looked at stevia. A nice natural sweetener. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the 5 points. Even if it is wrong for you, again, don't be too judgmental. I told you many stories on how I was on what could be defined as the wrong diet. And the wrong diet, again, I would just go back to the 5 points. You can't maintain. You're not happy with it. You're not enjoying it. You're cheating all the time. So you're adding foods that are unhealthy into it. That's how I would kind of sum up wrong. I've done it a few times. All right, and it took me a while to find the diet that worked for me and one that I enjoyed. But that's the beauty of it. Test out a couple different things. Anastasia did the same. She was on a different diet, and then she found vegan, and then she liked that, and now she's been able to continue it for years. It's been the same with me. I've tried a little bit of everything. I was no carbs for a very long time, or trying, I should say, this is way more accurate, trying no carbs for a long time. But it wasn't for me, but I wasn't, I was young at the time. It was the big fad. It didn't work well for me. It was sort of draining my energy. So loss of energy, my 3rd point. All right, it just was not very, very good for me. I need the carbohydrates in my diet, even if they're moderate. Angie, pumpkin seeds. Yes, absolutely. Are you a fan of pumpkin seeds, I'm guessing, Angie? Since you threw it out there, I am myself. I have pumpkin seeds in the house right now, so I'm very much a fan of pumpkin seeds. Again, one of the healthier seeds that you can have. I'm a big flax seed, pumpkin seed, hemp hearts kind of guy. So there's so many healthy seeds and nuts and everything like that out there, especially for your healthy fats. Remember, guys, pumpkin seeds, flax seeds, even peanuts and stuff like that. Remember, that is a fat source. A healthy fat source. All right, it's not a protein source. I get a lot of questions and comments from people. Well, I'm increasing my protein. I added, let's say, pumpkin seeds. Well, yeah, you increased your protein, but at what cost? It's going to come with a lot of fat. So let's say let's take peanut butter for instance. So in a tablespoon of natural peanut butter, in a tablespoon of natural peanut butter, you're going to get probably 4 grams of protein. But you're also getting 7 grams of fat at least. Some of them are 8 or 9. And 100 calories with it. So let's say you're trying to get, and 4 grams of protein is not that much. It's quite low. So let's say you're trying to get 20 grams of protein. That would be a good protein source. You add 20 grams of protein in one meal. All right. For you to get that 20 grams of protein with peanut butter, guess how many calories you would have to eat? You can probably do the math on it. You'd have to eat 500 calories. All right. And you'd be getting in and around at least 35 to 40 grams of fat with it, which is quite a lot. So, yeah, you're right, Angie. Pumpkin seeds are very good for you. And they have tryptophan. So at nighttime, if you have trouble sleeping, they can be a good source to help with sleep. So yeah, pumpkin seeds are definitely high on my list of seeds and healthy fat sources. So yeah, they're a good fat. They're a healthy fat. Just keep them in moderation because they are higher in calories. Protein per gram has 4 calories. Carbohydrates per gram, 4 calories. Fat per gram has 9 calories. So more than double of the other macronutrients. So you just want to make sure that you keep the fat in moderation. But again, you need healthy fat. So keep them in moderation. Pumpkin seeds are a great choice. And I like pumpkin seeds. I just eat them raw. You can add them to a bunch of different recipes. But for myself, I can just measure them out. Very simple. Weigh them out sometimes. And then I can just enjoy them that way. But I think we'll end the stream here, guys. I very much enjoyed it. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you guys took away some good information. Hit that cardio burn. Yep, 3,500 calories to lose a pound. Absolutely. We talked about that a little bit earlier, Angie. That's why I always say try to lose on the slow side 1 to 2 pounds a week so you're not in a huge calorie deficit. Because the bigger calorie deficit you are, the less energy you're going to have, the worse you're going to feel, and the harder it's going to be to stick to the diet. And you can do it through cardio, or you can just do it through a deficit in calories. So yeah, let's end it there, guys. Like I said, I really appreciate you guys coming in, enjoying the stream on a Sunday. I enjoyed it. Had a great time. I think it was a good discussion. I hope you guys took a lot out of it. Again, thank you for the support. I really appreciate it. And of course, there'll be daily videos coming out. I have a good one for you tomorrow. If you haven't seen the Brazil nut video, I would take a look at that one. The eat 1 to 3 Brazil nuts per day. I think that was an interesting video, and it just kind of shows you a high a sort of nutrient-dense, healthy fat, which can offer some pretty interesting health-promoting abilities. So maybe give that a watch if you're waiting for the next one. But we got an interesting one for tomorrow coming out as well. So take a look at that if you haven't. That would be greatly appreciated. But again, our next stream will be on Wednesday. Some people were calling it Wellness Wednesday. So that'll be our next live stream. So I hope I see you guys there again. And then our next one, so we always do them every Wednesday and every Sunday. So we'll be on here Wednesday, and then I'll be back Sunday as well. And you're right, Angie. Moderation, enjoy, love life. Well said. So we will end it there. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, guys. Very much a pleasure talking with you. Hope you're able to learn a little bit. I definitely did, learning from you guys as well. So that's why I always love these streams. And I will speak to you live on Wednesday. And I hope you guys enjoy the daily videos leading up until then. So everyone take care, and I will talk